Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are mapping out something absolutely fascinating. I want you to picture a typical 25-year-old just going about her day in a vibrant, everyday environment. Just a normal person in normal clothes, navigating a beautifully detailed, serene life. We're going to visually map out her, and really our, emotional landscape from the ground up. We'll be starting with the most relatable, everyday physical sensations and expanding all the way outward to the profound and spiritual. Because our emotional body isn't just one flat thing, it's a wonderfully complex, nested hierarchy. So let's explore every single layer of this beautiful complexity together. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We are bridging relatable physical biology all the way to profound spiritual theology. We'll start with the ladder of emotional awareness, move into the anatomy of the emotional body, explore divine grace and spirit, and wrap up with angelic presences and the aura. Section 1, the ladder of emotional awareness. So let's ground this. Imagine our 25-year-old is sitting in a sunlit coffee shop, and out of nowhere, boom, she gets a highly stressful email. What actually happens in her body and mind right in that exact moment? Well, our awareness of emotion climbs a developmental ladder. Step 1, raw physical sensation. We're talking somatic markers here. Her throat tightens up, maybe her limbs suddenly feel heavy. Then step 2 kicks in, action tendencies. That's the literal physical urge to just toss the phone and retreat. It's only at step 3 that we hit single emotions. This is the birth of emotional literacy, where she can actually categorize the feeling and say, okay, I'm feeling anxiety, or I'm feeling anger. Step 4 blends things together, feeling that anxiety alongside, say, gratitude that she even has a job. And finally, step 5. Blended blends. This is full-on meta-awareness, where she understands her own complex history while simultaneously having deep empathy for others. What's really interesting about this slide is how emotional intelligence isn't just about knowing your feelings. It's a ladder that starts with raw physiology way before your conscious brain gets involved. Which brings us to an absolutely critical takeaway from the source material. The body knows something is happening before the mind can define it. It's so relatable, right? When that stressful email arrives, before she can even mentally form the word anxiety, her body is already sounding the alarm. The tight throat, the shifting heart rate, that foundational layer of physical sensation is literally the ground floor of our entire emotional experience. Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Emotional Body. Now, we know how we become aware of our feelings, but how do they actually structurally operate? Well, think of the emotional body as having vertical intensity. Up at the top, in the shallow layer, you get mild reactions. Say the barista gets her coffee order wrong. It's a simple annoyance, no big deal. But our emotions have immense depth. If you follow that feeling down into what the source material calls the vertical core, the intensity level shifts completely. It becomes a transformative fire. So that tiny spark of annoyance up on the surface, it can drop into the core and become a powerful internal force, like primal rage. Understanding this vertical structure is huge because it lets us track exactly how a tiny daily friction evolves into an overwhelming internal storm. But here is the good news. To handle those massive emotional storms, our anatomy comes with a built-in safety valve called the witness layer. This is essentially a specialized state of consciousness that acts as your own internal observer. So the crucial point is, by cultivating this witness layer, you create a buffer. It provides the necessary space for objective analysis. Our 25-year-old can take a step back and literally watch the intense emotion happening inside her without being entirely consumed by the storm. This is a highly practical, everyday tool that's absolutely vital for real regulation and healing. And healing gets even more interesting when we look at this internal split we all have. On one side, we have the socialized self. This is basically a collection of all our repression, our learned reactions, and the cultural conditioning we absorb from family and society. On the flip side is the essence self. This is your soul's pure, innate emotional thumbprint, totally untouched by societal baggage. A huge part of healing the emotional body is clinically and methodically stripping away that socialized conditioning to finally rediscover your pure essence. Let's transition now to Section 3, Divine Grace and Spirit. Let's take a collective deep breath here and significantly slow our pacing down because we're moving into the more expansive, tranquil systems of the emotional body. At its deepest, most refined level, our emotional body completely transcends those basic everyday reactions we just talked about, and it begins to generate spirit-activated virtues. We're talking about genuine inner peace, deep patience, and profound joy. Now, unlike fleeting human happiness, getting a promotion or scoring a free coffee, these true virtues don't depend on external events at all. They're a stable, rock-solid foundation generated from within by the power of the Holy Spirit.
This process literally transforms the flesh by replacing lower motivations, shifting our default settings from constant reactivity to a permanent state of grace.
And that shift introduces a pivotal concept: dharma alignment. When you align with your true life purpose, your dharma, grace steps in. But listen, grace isn't just some abstract poetic idea here. It acts as a literal, kinetic corrective force. It provides this incredible emotional resilience against the friction of daily life. So as our 25-year-old navigates the ups and downs of her career, Grace actively supports her, clearing emotional blockages and giving her the strength to rise above the exhausting daily grind. This brilliantly illustrates how the Holy Spirit acts as the ultimate transformer. It entirely bypasses the conscious mind to deeply, structurally repair the emotional body. It literally accesses the nervous system directly for trauma release and clears out the body's stored emotional memory. And you guys, this isn't just all in your head. It comes with very real physical markers. People report feeling intense physical warmth, or a sense of soaking up inner light, or even a profound gut urgency. These are tangible physical indicators that deep energetic repair is actively taking place within that serene, grounded atmosphere.
And finally, Section 4, Angelic Presences and the Aura.
For this final stretch, we're keeping our feet firmly planted on the ground, but we are looking upward. The sources outline how angelic beings interface with our healed emotional body, and it's all about resonance. First off, they offer what's called the angelic template. Since angels don't have the distortions of the human ego, their blueprints are perfectly clear. They give us a clean template to synchronize our own messy human energy against. Second, they facilitate orchestrated connections. Picture our 25-year-old suddenly finding the exact right fated community or meeting a soulmate at the exact right moment. This is actively orchestrated to heal long-standing patterns of human isolation. And third, they provide guided intentions, often through numerical affirmations, just to give us a little nudge and validate that we're on the right path. Let's move to and see how this builds into our everyday interactions. Your emotional body is absolutely not a closed loop. The heart and the aura act together as a porous transceiver. You are constantly projecting your divine feelings and virtues outward into the world, while at the exact same time, you are receiving the subtle energies and emotional projections of everyone around you. It's literally the mechanics of how our energetic boundaries interact with physical reality. Because we're constantly bombarded with these subtle energies, our emotional body is fully equipped with its own set of senses. We call these spiritual sensory feelings. They include discernment, intuition, and even those everyday hunches you get when you just walk into a coffee shop. Actually, scratch that. They aren't just random guesses. They are highly specific mystic warnings and supportive insights. We use these precise senses to navigate non-physical spaces and firmly guard our emotional sanctity. So we've mapped out the entire landscape today, from the raw, tight throat of physical sensation all the way up to the radiant transceiver of the aura. It's like a giant, beautiful puzzle, isn't it? I want to leave you with a final thought to sit with in quiet reflection. As you sit right where you are today, what is your aura broadcasting out into the world? And if you stop and listen really closely, what is your emotional body trying to tell you? Take a moment today to tune into that incredible system. Thanks for exploring with us on The Explainer, and keep learning.